Let's do it. Another edition of The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. His real name is Cardale Jones. His nickname is Beanie Wells. I'm Dave Holmes. Hit us up at The Script OSU on all social media. But do us a favor, if you're watching the video version right now, shoes are crispy as always. Woo, what's Cardale rocking? Those are good.
These are some
ones.
These are some Jordan ones. I forgot the name of them, but they're pretty exclusive. It's like their top 4 or 5 pair mixed into one.
It looks like something I can't
Chicago's, the red toes. Yeah.
My goodness. Anyway, so
lot going on here.
Subscribe on YouTube so you can see the shoe game, and let's talk about what happened in the shoe. Ohio State beats UCLA 48-10. We're going to talk about the game, guys, but the big story is who didn't play. Cardale Tate, and who left the game early, Jeremiah Smith. Okay, I'm going to be real. I'm nervous right now. I am concerned. Cardale Tate didn't play against Purdue. They said it was precautionary. He doesn't play against UCLA. If he's not out there in Rutgers, and I don't expect him to play, then I get nervous. I think we finally learned what's going on against Michigan, because if he's not out there, then we're worried that this whole season's over. So anyway, I just want to get into your guys' level of concern on a scale from 1 to 10 on Cardale Tate and Jeremiah Smith's health.
So from a standpoint of looking at Cardale Tate, obviously he's a huge piece to the puzzle and what we do on the offensive end. And I think he takes a lot of pressure off of Jeremiah Smith, helps us in the pass game. If he's not out there, well, check that. I don't even expect him to be out there this week.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit concerned initially, but now that we look at this could potentially be 3 weeks that he's had to be off to get healthy and rectify just about anything that he had going on outside of, knock on wood, a torn ligament. 3 weeks is long enough to be back to normal speed. So I'm not overly concerned. I like that we had an opportunity to rest him. Now, going and looking at, Jeremiah Smith, the way he was limping off the field, definitely a little bit of cause for concern for me. But again, we don't need to play him this week. If it's an ankle sprain, you rest him. Now we're talking 2 weeks that he gets an opportunity to rest, and then we play Michigan.
So here's what happened. So a couple of weeks ago after the Purdue thing, some guy online, and he is an air quotes journalist, but some guy online basically said that Cardale Tate is shutting it down for the season. He's JSNing this whole thing, and Buckeye Nation blew up. Now, Ryan Day has said it's not long-term. Pete Thamel has come out and said it's not long-term. We'll see on Cardale Tate. Like I said, Michigan's going to be the big tell there. We'll see how long that's going to be. Jeremiah Smith, he was questionable going into the UCLA game, Cardale, and then he's pulled early. Like Beanie said, he's limping off. That's not good. I wouldn't expect to see him out there against Rutgers, knowing what's on the horizon.
Yeah, for sure. If I have an opportunity to rest my guys, then I'm going to do that and prepare for the long haul. We mentioned this last week on the show. I'm not too concerned about these guys' injuries, and I think the young depth that we have, they're not as equal as a Cardale Tate or Jeremiah Smith, and I don't know who is around college football, but I think we got enough to get through Rutgers, and then you want to be full head of steam with as many guys as fresh as possible when you play that team up north here in 2 weeks.
Okay, so we saw what this offense looks like without those guys in the second half against UCLA. Julian Sayin goes 23 for 31, 184 yards. That's his third lowest output of the season. Part of that is the Buckeyes could just run it so efficiently. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But Beanie, what did you think of the way Julian Sayin looked without his all-world receivers out?
It was different. It was different.
Thank you for being honest.
So I got to be honest in the assessment that I have. I thought he was a little bit slow going through his progressions. He didn't have the safety valve of a Jeremiah Smith that he can throw it to in triple coverage and expect him to come out with the ball. So he had to hang on to it a little bit longer than I liked going through his reads. And he wasn't as decisive because now you got a whole crop of new receivers out there that you're trying to figure out, you're trying to get a feel with. And thankfully, we have a couple of weeks to be able to, for him to get comfortable with those guys. But nonetheless, it was completely different. And I think it showed in obviously his efficiency, his decision-making, and just the timing out there on the offensive end.
You're my guy. You're my quarterback, Cardale. Let's say you're not only without WR1. Let's say you're without your top 2. How does that change your game as a quarterback?
Yeah, it changes because, you're so used to these guys getting in and out of their breaks at a certain point, and you're used to their demeanors when they're in and out of their routes and stuff. And now you got to go in with guys you haven't had as many reps with. These young guys have all the talent in the world. Let's not get this twisted, but it's a different comfortability level when you have with guys that you have done this with for 10, 11 straight weeks on top of everything, all the time, effort, and energy and the work y'all put in this offseason. So it is different. And I think this goes back to my point of when we talk about the Heisman Trophy. It was something where the concern for me with Julian Sayin being that guy that is going to walk away with that trophy is I didn't want people to look at him and say, what is he without these guys? Because now that narrative is already starting to create itself. He's still a really good quarterback. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. But when you thrust into a moment, well, other guys are thrust into the moment where you're not used to the timing and in the ball placement and certain things with these guys and the body demeanors, of course, the production is going to slip a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume and I would think that this week with a week of preparation with, these young receivers, I wouldn't say young receivers, these inexperienced receivers, he's going to be back on fire versus Rutgers.
Yeah, you look at the best quarterbacks in history. Like you look at Peyton Manning and he had Marvin Harrison and he had Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark. And then you look at even someone like Tom Brady, who was a solid quarterback when he was throwing it to Troy Brown and David Patton. But what happened when he got Moss? When he got Randy Moss, it was like nuclear mode unlocked.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Clearly, the quarterback is only good as the guys around him. And this kind of segues into my next comments. We talked about, in a production kind of briefing, we talked about Shedeur Sanders and just not him, but Dylan Gabriel and then the struggles the Browns quarterbacks have had because of lack of production, most likely around these guys. So usually good quarterbacks is followed by some good receivers. Tell me what Hall of Fame quarterback has not played with a Hall of Fame receiver.
See, I beg to differ a little bit. Because I certainly think when you look at, obviously, to start their careers, yes, with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, but for a long time, those guys made receivers.
I agree.
Because, we don't have a Julian Edelman come out the woodwork if he plays, let's say, in Green Bay. He's not going to be as successful as he was with Tom Brady.
No doubt.
Same with Danny Amendola. And then I don't know if you remember, this guy was good, but I think he made him so much better, Pierre Garçon, there with Indy. So there's certain quarterbacks that can't tell
I don't know.
agree.
Mount Union's own Pierre Garçon?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that point, but I'm saying you starting off young with these guys.
Yeah, right.
It helps to start off as a young quarterback with veteran leadership and playmakers around you to, one, build that confidence, and two, understand how it's done at a high level. So now when you're 3-4 years in the lead or 3-4 years under your belt of starting quarterback, and you getting a young up and coming guy with the talent, you know how to mold them.
Right.
Hey, because I remember Phillip Rivers all the time being in the quarterback room, and he would talk to Keenan Allen, who was still young at that point in his career, and he would talk to him about how Antonio Gates used to do it, even though Gates was still on the team, and how the guys that he played with would do it. And he would soak up that energy. He would soak up that learning and that knowledge. And now he's the leading pass catcher in Chargers history. So, but that goes back to just the success that you want to have around your quarterbacks. And that's at any level. And clearly we're seeing it right now with Julian saying a year under his belt. Well, going into a year under his belt, you had a Jeremiah Smith a year under his belt, Carnell Tate 2 years under his belt. So he walked into situations, a young quarterback with a lot of experience around him.
Yeah, the running game.
Yeah. So now you put those young guys in, and we saw the production dip a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, and the running game looked really good. So they had 4 touchdowns on the ground, more than 200 yards. Isaiah West, James Peoples, both go for over 7 yards a carry. Bo Jackson, well over 7 yards a carry as well. But James Peoples is who I want to kind of zoom in on here, okay? Because this guy was supposed to be the guy. Lost his job quickly to a true freshman. Hangs around, has what I said. Okay, so on social, I said that's one of the best Ohio State, or that is the best Ohio State run. His cut in the backfield, which is underrated because then he does the leap and touchdown, keeps his balance. I said that's the best Ohio State run I've seen in years. People went nuts on me on social media. Dave, what about Zeke? Yeah, that was a decade ago. I said years. In the last 3 or 4 years,
it's been that long.
That's the best run I've seen in the last several years. So your guys thought on James Peoples' breakout season.
Oh, man, I don't know if it's been a breakout season.
No, I'm sorry. That the season is arriving now.
Yeah, I think it's certainly just due. I think it's happening at the right time. We've talked so long about Ohio State playing all of these running backs and them still figuring out, who's the quote-unquote guy. But I think even, I don't want guys to get injured, but even the situation with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, I think all of this is happening at the right time for this football team so Ryan Day could implement other guys into the hay on the offensive end, and we can figure out what they have and how they can help this team. And Peoples is one of those guys. I thought that run was phenomenal. I loved the hurdle. It was so smooth. The cut, he looked like a RB1.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
He looked like a guy that can make plays consistently.
Yeah, for sure. He has all the talent in the world. He has the ability to be an RB1, but you look at Coach Locks and what he's done over his career dating back at Memphis, it's always been a running back by committee type of groups, right? He had 3-4 guys at Memphis all played in the NFL, right? And the things that he did at Oregon before he got here. So I'm not shocked to see James Peoples performing at this type of level, because clearly going into the season, we all expected him. The expectation was him to be the guy. He still have that talent, right? The production may not be there right now because the opportunities leading up to this point, but Beanie made a good point. As I'm getting to the meat and potatoes of our season, right? Thanksgiving right around the corner. I got to know who are my guys that I can lean on when times get tough and the season continue to get longer and longer as the weeks go.
Okay, Mr. Running Back, let me ask you this. Is it possible that this late in the season, a light bulb just goes off? Here's a theory I have. It's the Trey Sermon effect.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Sermon was just like Mr. 58 yards until a light bulb went off, and then he had a historic 3-game run there in the Big Ten and in the playoffs. So your thoughts on James Peoples? Is it possible for a running back 9-10 games in for just something to click?
100%. 100%. There are times as a running back and as a football player in general, especially when you're not out there as much, you're sitting back, you're learning. And when you're out there in the beginning part of the year, you're pressing. You're trying to make a big play. I'm trying to prove I need to be out here. So I'm trying to do the extraordinary to prove to the coaching staff and the fans that I'm just this awesome player. And then at some point, you got to take a back seat and say, let me allow myself to learn the game of football the right way. Let me allow myself to play the game of football the right way. And when you do that, things like this start to happen. Your body and your mind starts to take over and the game slows down for you. I mean, this goes for any player on a football field. When you're thinking too much about whatever it is, whether it's to make a big play or the defensive scheme or what I got to do on offense, you're playing at a much slower pace. When the game slows down, when you're not thinking out there, your ability is able to take over and we're able to see your talent on a completely different level. And I think that's what's happening right now.
Buckeyes now undefeated, the 12th straight week as #1 in the AP poll. That's the 3rd longest streak in school history. Okay, so next up is Rutgers at home. It's senior day, an emotional day in the shoe. Ohio State 10-0 all-time against Rutgers. There was no chance on earth they lose this game. Rutgers has 2 wins in the Big Ten and 2 wins in the MAC this year. All right, Rutgers is the MAC champion. They beat Miami. They beat OU. They are, 426 yards per game they're allowing.
Probably should have lost OU too if Ohio.
Yeah. So they're the worst defense statistically in the Big Ten. Is there anything you guys can say about Rutgers that's a positive light?
They're running back.
Okay, so they're running back. Okay, Antoine Raymond. Okay, so he won the Doak Walker National Running Back of the Year award, Running Back of the Week. He ran for 240 yards in his last game against Maryland. Give me some Antoine Raymond nuggets here. What do you like about him?
Hey, he's a guy, one, that can carry the load, have 41 carries in that game.
41 carries.
And, I mean, that's not an easy task to do, to carry it 41 times in a game. And then he can hit the home run. So obviously, if we're not shoring up on our tackling, he can break a tackle and go to distance. He has the speed to be able to do that. So that's something, obviously, you want to corral a guy like that, and you want to be sure in tackling him. You want to get him down any chance you can get.
Yeah, and I guess, Cardale, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I think it's good to go against a dominant running back the week before you go up to Ann Arbor.
I would say yes. I would say, but it's not a dominant run game. He's just a really good.
He's just a really good player.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's just a really good running back on a pretty mediocre offensive staff. When you talk about the guys around him. This is not going to be the same run game test that you're going to get up in Ann Arbor, but it's going to be a good kind of synopsis before you get there. But I'm trying to think of something positive to say about Rutgers without disrespecting them.
I love the Scarlet Knight mascot. He rides the horse in. That's kind of cool.
But you never know. I don't want the Buckeyes to go into this situation, into this game, with just thinking you rolling your helmets out and it's going to be enough. Trust and believe. As the years Schiano been the head coach at Rutgers, he have done something crazy in this Ohio State game to try to beat them or throw them off a little bit. If it was a trick play, I can see him coming out and kicking an offside kick on the first kick.
Wasn't it Rutgers a couple years ago where he got real hot with Ryan Day over the fake punt that may or may not have been called?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah,
and it was like, and I think
2 years ago,
I think the punter just saw wide open and just took it,
yeah,
and then he got hot with Ryan because it was like a blowout game.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? My player, this is what we do. I mean, if the punter sees it wide open,
my punter's a playmaker, dude. What do you mean?
I thought that was funny because Schiano thought that was dirty, but I think Schiano's also the coach who used to have people in the NFL when he was a head coach rush the kneel down.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember that with Schiano, yes.
So anyway, now I'm getting on a Schiano rant.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the week before the game, all right? How do you guys look at, do you like a cupcake like this right before Michigan? Would you rather be tested? What do you like the week before you play the Amazing Blue?
I really don't even care which way, either way. You understand, what's on the horizon, so you're going out there trying to be as sharp as possible. And, I like where we are as a team. And again, I don't want these guys to be injured, but I'm liking the fact that we have an opportunity to play other guys the week before the Michigan game. Allow these guys to go get comfortable. Allow these guys to prove themselves and prove that, you know what, I'm a great player and I can contribute to this football team, not just in this moment, but in the biggest of moments. And I think these games present an opportunity for the coaching staff to be able to develop trust as you go down the stretch of this season, which we know is going to be a grind because you're going to be playing top-tier teams after Michigan, the conference championship, and moving forward. But nonetheless, going out and playing the week before you play the school up north, you want to be as sharp as possible doing everything. So whether that's blocking, whether that's running, whether that's knowing my assignments, this is another opportunity to sharpen the iron.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You look at what some other teams around the country is doing right now, and pretty much SEC has a bye week. You know, they don't play
we'll get there next segment. Get ready.
They don't play 9 conference games, but I want to be at my best when it's time to play your best, and this is another opportunity to get some more reps under your belt to get ready for Michigan.
Well, it's a big game just because you got to stay healthy, get some reps, and the next week is, of course, the game. All right, coming up next here on The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. There's one other game in the Big Ten this week that has massive playoff implication. We'll get their take on that coming up next. College football not feeling as juicy as it once did. Well, let me put you onto something that'll shake up your Saturday and every other day of the week. Because now that Wendy's has crispy chicken tendies and a powerhouse lineup of new sauces, it's time you transfer to the hottest team in the league.
That's right. Team Tendies. Wendy's Tendies, they're making their undeniable rookie season one for the books. Enjoy first-string flavor from some 5-star recruits. Rep your new favorite team everywhere you go, but make sure you cheer with your mouth closed.
Take it to the end zone of savory sauces like honey barbecue, creamy ranch, and that new Wendy's signature sauce to experience a total taste bud blitz of flavor. It's time to join the team that won't upset you with an upset.
Taste the phenom that's gracing the gridiron with its juicy, crispy, and tendery tendencies. Don't fumble the bag. Commit to Team Tendies and call the most delicious plays in the playbook. All right, huddle up. Tendies on 3. Tendies on 3. 1, 2, 3, Tendies. Let's do this. Wendy's Chicken Tendies now at participating U.S. Wendy's. Support for The Script comes from Google. We hear commentators talk all the time about the spread offense, but what if you don't know exactly what that means or what makes it different from other offensive schemes? Well, you can keep wondering or ask your friends and hope they know what they're talking about, or you can use AI mode on Google search.
You can just type, help me understand what a spread option is and why a football team would choose to run it. Yep. You can ask all those questions in one search, and you'll get an organized and helpful AI-powered response with everything you need to know.
But it doesn't end there. Let's say you want to just keep going deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a whole new search. You can ask direct follow-ups like break down how it compares to the pro-style offense based overall philosophy, types of formation, use, and pace.
AI mode is great at these type of comparisons, giving you a side-by-side analysis and helping you get the full story from one question to the next. So if you don't want to just watch the game, but really understand it, you can just ask Google. Welcome back to The Script, a podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Make sure you follow us at The Script OSU. Hit us up on Apple, Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's talk some games around the world of college football this week and some lines. Ohio State, minus 31.5 against Rutgers. They keep getting these big spreads. They've been covering much more often than not. So what do you think?
This is creeping up there right here. I mean, if we don't have all of our playmakers to score 31.5 points, I don't know. I'm going with it. I'll take it. Give me the Buckeyes.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this spread? I mean, 31.5 is a lot of points, but I'm just like, damn, what would have been if Carnell and Jeremiah was 100% ready to go? But this is an interesting one. I think this spread, like I said, is 31.5, but I think the over-under is like 50 or is in the 50s. So they're saying Rutgers getting on the scoreboard here.
Right.
With significant points. I don't know. I don't know. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to probably take that 31.5 Ohio State and thinking that it's probably staying below the under, because I don't see Ohio State is going to go out there and drop 50 on them, but I don't see Rutgers going out there and scoring more than UCLA.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. The game that I am really locked in on this week in the Big Ten is Oregon at home against USC. The Ducks favored by 10, 10.5, depending on where you're looking. But guys, this is a huge game when it comes to playoff implications for both these teams.
Yeah, no question. This is the game that I have circled. I can't wait to watch this one. And, quite frankly, I think I'm taking USC in this football game with the points. When you look at USC, they can score. Their quarterbacks are comparable. Their run game is similar. They've obviously USC had some running backs banged up, but the guys that have filled in for them has been playing pretty well. And this is a rivalry game. So we can't forget about what rivalry games mean. All things go out the window. This is going to be an amazing matchup here. And when you look at Oregon, and how they played versus Iowa a couple of weeks ago, I think USC has a much better offense than Iowa. So I think USC wins this football game.
Yeah, I think USC is going to give them a run for their money. I do like USC money lineup, but the safest bet is taking the point since it's such a wide spread here. But yeah, you look at the way USC played Iowa, you look at the way Oregon played Iowa. It's only two really most recent comparables we have to each other here. I like the way USC played them better. USC was able to play Big Ten style of football when it matters most. Or Iowa went in there and just tried to run that thing down their throat. And for the most part, they did up into the fourth quarter. And USC made some great plays. Jaden Mayaba, once again, is clearly keeps showing why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, if not all of college football. Ooh, I think they go in there and get that upset, but I'm going to take the points to be safe.
I love that.
And we ain't even throwing the fact that this is an opportunity for USC to get into the college football playoff.
That's what I'm saying.
They know that.
Yes.
So going in, you know this is all or nothing. And heck, I want it for the Big Ten because I believe Oregon can lose another game and still get into the Big Ten or the college football playoff.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for us to get 4 teams in that thing. So I want it to happen just because of that reason alone.
But we're going to get on playoff talk and how the Big Ten can get a potential for maybe even have a strong argument for 5 teams. But we'll see.
I love this is the best part about the expanded playoff. And I know there was some talk this week about taking this thing to like 24 teams or something. Stop. That's too many. But I do love this time of year for the teams like USC, where this game matters now a lot. Okay, so if there's one team I'm rooting for in college football this week, it is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, because they are home against Pitt. They're favored by 3.
Please.
Cardale, tell the people why I'm rooting for Georgia Tech this week.
Because Pat Narduzzi is a oh my God. I've never seen a coach basically go out there and say, we don't care if we lose this game. I get it. You were playing against Notre Dame and not in conference. You're trying to still go to the conference championship game and have an opportunity for the college football playoffs. But when you make public comments like that, that stuff seeps into your locker room. And you saw the game last week, Pitt versus Notre Dame. These Pitt players looked like they was out there point shaving. You guys are next. You guys are next on an investigation from the FBI on college betting. And that type of stuff, I hope Pat Narduzzi plan blows up in his face by basically not going out there and trying to win that game versus Notre Dame.
Yes.
That game right there is a game that you win, and potentially if you lose or don't go to the ACC championship game, look at the quality win you have versus a team that's going to be in the college football playoffs. So it's helped you with some arguments, help you with recruiting, and who don't want to win. The name of the game is to win games.
Yes.
Like, I don't care if it's in the conference, out of conference, I'm playing against the Monstars. We're getting ready for the Turkey Bowl next week. You don't think I want to win that game? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, it's just unbelievable. So I hope Georgia Tech boat race these guys. I hope they destroy it. I'm taking Georgia Tech -10. I am giving them more.
Adjusted line.
I'm adjusting my line. I got an alternate spread going on right now.
No, I mean, Beanie. So, I mean, and again, for people who don't know, Cardale kind of summed it up. So Pitt's head coach basically said, we don't care if we beat Notre Dame. It's all about the ACC does. That is such a loser's mindset. You have the Fighting Irish.
Right.
You're finally ranked at home.
You don't care to defend home. Oh, my God.
Home field against a top 5 blue blood all-time program, and you basically wave the white flag and say, they're not the ACC.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And you had a moment to where one of your greatest players in school history is coming back, and you're retiring his jersey and Aaron Donald.
You ruined this day.
And you ruined the moment by coming out and saying at the beginning of the week. I mean, that lets you know where this coach's mentality is. I mean, it doesn't care about anything else but the ACC. And it kind of sucks because on one end, we want to see quality football. As fans, we want, coaches and teams to go out there and play hard no matter who they're playing. But now you're telling me that the coach is strategizing in a situation, okay, we can lose this one, we'll drop this one, we'll maybe rest guys and not play as hard and just worry about the ACC games because we want to backdoor our way in to a college football playoff potentially. Like, come on, man. Who wants to do that? That mentality, like you said, Cardale, it seeps into your locker room. Players take on the persona of their head coach. And when their head coach start thinking and saying things like that out loud,
Man,
That's a little alarming.
Especially this point of the season, bro. You guys are somewhat rolling. You want to keep that momentum going. You don't just turn it off and think you're turning back on. Basically, in a playoff eliminator game this week versus Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I hope this plan blows up in his face so bad. Unfortunately for the players, but for him, I hope this blows up in his face. I hope Tech destroy them.
Me too.
Like,
I just
not
want the
even close.
precedent set that you don't act like this and win football games. I agree. Well, it is my favorite time of year. The air is crisp. There's a fire in the fireplace. The Christmas decorations are coming out, and BYU is losing football games. That's my favorite time of year. It is a tradition unlike any other. BYU this week, -2.5 at Cincinnati. Big game for the Bearcats. Big game for BYU. What do you think?
Oh, man, that's going to be interesting right there because BYU is in a situation to where they control their own destiny.
Yeah.
They have to win out, get to the conference championship, and then potentially, whether they win or lose that one, they could be a 2-loss team getting to the college football playoff. And we know and understand how BYU season finished last year.
Mm-hmm.
They got to 9-0, then the wheels came falling off of that program. And I don't know if Kalani Sitake wants another year to where people are envisioning his team as a team that can't play an entire season. For whatever reason, in late November, that team just starts falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be an interesting situation. They do have to travel all the way from Utah to Cincinnati, which alone in itself is a tough task.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen it back and forth with the teams going from east to west, west to east. They don't have a great road record in the big, not just in the Big Ten, but all around college football.
Yeah.
And this is going to be an interesting one. Cincinnati didn't look like the Cincinnati we saw the first couple of weeks, over the last couple of weeks, not able to score points, not able to stop anyone.
Mm-hmm.
BYU is a team, you know what you're going to get with these guys. They're going to play some great defense. They're going to play some hard-nosed, tough football on the opposite side of the ball. This is going to be a tall task for Cincy. Interesting game because whoever wins officially put themselves in a driver's seat for the Big 12 championship game. We expect them to play Texas Tech potentially, but I think I'm taking BYU in the points here.
Okay. Time now. Enough with spreads. I want straight winners. Straight winners, all right? Just give me who's going to win. Let's go around the SEC. Straight winners. Texas A&M, home against Samford. Who do you guys like?
Oh, come on. It's Samford. No, I'm just playing.
Well,
Texas A&M's going to win this
Samford's
game.
1-10, so they've won a game this year.
Is it Sanford, Connecticut?
No, not Stanford.
Stanford.
Samford, like Samford and Sons.
Sanford is, no, I'm sorry. This is the tricky part with the SEC. I know they go into that format next year, playing 9 home games. Conference games. But this is. I don't want to be A&M in this situation unless I got to get guys healthy to get ready for Texas the following week.
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue playing at a high level. But A&M is going to destroy them.
Okay, Georgia, home against Charlotte. Charlotte's 1-9. Georgia's at home here. If this...
The 49ers?
Yeah. Ain't the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, all right, how about this one? Alabama, home against Eastern Illinois.
Oh,
now, Eastern's won 3 games. That's a good program. No? No?
Yeah.
That's about, that's just as many Wisconsin won.
They might as well just have Thanksgiving week this week for the SEC teams and eat all the cupcakes you can handle right now.
Now, for Texas A&M, if it was at Samford, no one goes into Samford and just rolls. So, but the fact that it's at A&M, the one that's actually kind of funny is Auburn plays 9-1 Mercer. The way Auburn is down and the way Mercer is up,
could go either way.
You never know. Okay, so let's talk about real football again. Let's go to the NFL here. Shedeur Sanders got in the game, and some people are basically saying career over based on 16 passes. Other people are saying, I saw a glimmer. I saw a spark. Where do you guys come down on Shedeur's debut?
You know what? It was tough, a tough outing nonetheless. But anytime you're a quarterback and you're thrust in a situation to where, I think it's been reported he had no first team reps the entire time he's been there with the Cleveland Browns. The timing is going to be off. You don't know what it's like to be in a game. He hadn't played in a game since preseason. So it's been a long time sitting on the bench and expect the guy to come in cold and deliver and look like a starting quarterback. No, it's not going to happen. He's been a backup quarterback for a reason. And then a lot of times when coaches do know they're going to have a backup plan, you're game planning a game plan tailored around the things that he does well. He didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah. The problem is people just think you can come off the bench and win a national championship as a quarterback. It's not that easy, right? Is it?
Well, I think my thing with Shedeur right now in the situation he's in, and I just hate the excuses that continue to come out. Like, he hasn't had a first team rep. Well, we got to get the first team quarterback who also is a rookie ready. So the more reps we get him ready and under his belt, hopefully that translate on Sundays. I think it's some situations I haven't seen all the reports of. It's almost like, oh, look at this line. They're not blocking for him, but that's the same line Dylan Gabriel was behind. I'm more in the space of eliminating excuses versus making excuses and trying to make a path easier for anyone in any situation when your job is your job is to go perform at a high level. Not saying that I expected more out of the performance we saw from Shedeur, because it is tough to be thrust in that situation, but it's still a lot of things he needs to work on. And it was a picture floating around on social media where the offensive line was pretty much sliding towards one guy and like it was a free hitter basically coming in his face.
Yeah.
Well, I want to get into that a little bit. When you get into the play call, when you get the play call in your headset as a quarterback, you get in a protection, a formation, probably a motion or a shift, and then you get in the play, maybe you get in a check. Protections was always my baby. I wanted to take care of those things. One, I wanted to protect myself. And two, I want to always get my running back out. So if I knew his guy was blitzing, I would just change the protection, put the offensive line on him, and make sure he was getting out for my safety blanket. I look at some of the plays that Shedeur was in, and this is no knock on him. This is just come with reps. And that's what people need to understand. It come with experience and reps. He made no checks in the protections. So as it came into his headset, he was going out there and playing it versus taking all of the steps to make sure we can have a potential opportunity for a successful play. So a lot of times when Baltimore was having a free hitter coming off right in his face, it wasn't even blitz. It wasn't even an overload protection when I'm saying bringing more than you can handle. So protection was going the wrong way. If it was going the right way, we got that guy blocked. Now we can do some things downfield. That just come with the reps and being a quarterback. So my whole argument to this is I expected this type of performance out of Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel, but you got to be patient in Cleveland because we've seen it over the last couple of years when you don't be patient with these young quarterbacks. They get an opportunity to go somewhere else. Another system is being more patient, or now they're of the age and they got the experience under their belt and they're flourishing.
Man, that was really good analysis. I appreciate that. Okay, one other thing that came out of the AFC North this week. Jamar Chase suspended for spitting on Jalen Ramsey. Now, I want to know, have you guys ever witnessed an on-field spitting? Or if not, is there anything else that's happened like this? Because at first, we didn't know it happened. At first, we saw Jalen Ramsey just lose his mind. Yeah. And then after the fact, you're like, oh, that's why he lost his mind. I get it. So have you guys ever seen anything like this on the field?
I have not. And knowing Jalen Ramsey and knowing the reports when it came out earlier, and Jamar Chase tried to say he didn't do anything. He was just talking to him, and Jalen Ramsey got mad. I'm just like, that don't sound like Jalen Ramsey because he's one of the best talkers in the game, and he can dish it out and he can receive it. So I thought it was something I didn't. Jamar Chase is not known to be a guy like that or to let things get under his skin for whatever talking battle to make him do that. So I kind of believed Jamar Chase until the video came out. But no, as far as me being in any situation like that in the game, I have never witnessed someone making a racial slur or doing anything that was like, okay, I understand why you reacted the way you reacted.
Yeah, I've witnessed on several occasions some craziness. In my day, I played with some guys.
Come on.
I'm gonna go ahead and say. I'm gonna go ahead and say
names.
No, I'm gonna say his name because he was a crazy dude.
Then say his name.
Darnell Dockett.
He might be coming.
That's who I played with. He played defensive tackle for the Arizona Cardinals. And when I say Doc was a loose cannon, a loose cannon on the football field. One, you knew he was gonna bring it though every single game. You never had to question whether he was gonna be there and delivering and giving everything he had for the football team. But nonetheless, on the bottom of a pile. You did not want to be on the other end of Darnell Dockett because I can remember vividly, we're in New York, we're playing the Jets, and on the bottom of a pile, I remember hearing a guy scream and kick, and all I see is Darnell Dockett over the top of him. And I know there was something going on in that football game. So whether his hands around his neck or something, I'm not going to confirm or deny, but I know it was some craziness going on. But Doc was a crazy dude on the field. And it wasn't just that game. There were several games that you could go to. And if you watch Darnell Dockett enough, he's doing something to somebody on that football field to where they're getting pissed off after the play.
You know what? I take it back. I'm going all the way back to Little League football with the Glenville Titans, my first year playing organized tackle football. Our quarterback, Devon Dresch, a guy I grew up with, who's also one of our linebackers, he used to pitch. I swear. And I remember, and I cannot wait till we clip this and I'm gonna send this to him. Man, I just remember a game we playing against the East 97th Street Bulldogs, and we playing at our home stadium, man, in a freaking playoff game. And we like something like a dog pile, and I just hear just like pinch him. I'm like, what? And I was like freaking 8 years old, and like that just sparked a memory. Like, yeah. So that was the thing that flirted on the line with, okay, I don't think that's football.
Right.
That's hilarious.
I've always wondered what goes on in those piles, so now we know.
Thank God I haven't been on like many of those, man, because I can only imagine.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. All right, coming up next here on The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Finally, the hammer drops on a Michigan college football team. It's just the wrong team. We'll be right back.
For Buckeyes and businesses, Branded Bills has you covered. Whether you're showing your scarlet and gray pride or you're building a brand of your own, nothing tops a custom hat.
Branded Bills is a proud sponsor of Ohio State athletics with licensed Buckeye headgear that looks just as good in the horseshoe as it does when you're walking around Columbus. And beyond game day, they specialize in custom headwear that helps businesses, teams, and communities stand out with premium fit, finish, and style.
So whether you are a diehard Buckeye, an entrepreneur, or just someone who want to rep their story, check out Branded Bills. Explore their official licensed Ohio State collection or design your own custom hat built just for you. Branded Bills for Buckeyes and businesses, licensed pride, custom style.
You know that feeling when your team wins? It's electric. You're pacing the room, texting your group chat, yelling like you called the game-winning play yourself. Now imagine that winning energy hits right as your DoorDash order arrives. Perfect timing. Drinks are cold, pizza's hot, wings and fries perfectly crispy. Now you're not just a fan, you're a winner. DoorDash turns every good college football game day into a great one with game day favorites delivered right to your door right when you need them most. So go ahead, ride that high, celebrate the W. Just try not to spike the remote out of excitement when that food shows up. Your team wins, you win. DoorDash delivers the W in food form. Welcome back to The Script, a podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Make sure you hit us up at The Script OSU on social media. Click subscribe right now if you're watching on YouTube. Video version is the most fun, so you can see Beanie wearing. How would you describe this hoodie right now?
So I'm going to tell you, this hoodie right here, it's bleached. So I was washing clothes one day, and I spilled bleach on it. And then I love this hoodie, and it's a Lululemon hoodie. And as you guys know, Lululemon is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Let me figure out how to tie dye this thing with bleach. So I put some rubber bands, I put some bleach in the wash machine, and came out with it. I wasn't letting this go to waste.
Not no $7,000 hoodie from Lululemon.
Yeah, my goodness. You said you guys know how expensive it is. I've heard how expensive they are. I don't know firsthand. All right, let's talk about what happened up north. All right, finally, a Michigan football team had to vacate wins. It's just the Michigan State Spartans. They get stung by the NCAA recruiting violations that happened under the watch of Mel Tucker. 14 games vacated, guys. So is this more about the vacated wins for Michigan State, or is this more about you just shaking your head thinking, how in the world did Michigan not get there?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous when you look at Michigan State getting this sanction when, we talk about recruiting violations. Like, come on, man. We're in a day and age right now where we have NIL. Guys are getting paid and they're getting recruited with dollars and cents, real dollars and cents at this point in time. And you're talking about vacating wins because of something like that. But you got a school who cheated their way to a national championship. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to do anything to those guys. Makes zero sense. This is why people have lost trust and faith in the NCAA and their ability to make the proper decisions for schools. It's just stupid.
Here we go. Buckle up, NCAA, coming after your ass again. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, clearly when Mel Tucker was at Michigan State, the recruiting landscape was different. NIL wasn't around yet, so some of the things you couldn't do. But one thing I know about the recruiting landscape now versus then, it was so many great area things you could and could not do. But you're talking about violations, which a violation hasn't came out yet. What was done, but. And I hate that we're on this show and it's going to seem like everything we say about Michigan because we're Ohio State guys. Don't get this twisted. If Ohio State was going through this, my take would be the same thing. So you look at all the recruiting violations that happened under Harbaugh and nothing happened.
Right. He spent the night at the kid's house and slept on the floor. Do y'all remember that?
A little creepy. So you got that. And then, what they did clearly in the recruiting violation landscape did not help them on the football field.
Right.
And they got punished for something on the football field. Now, what Michigan did in the landscape of sanctions and violations completely helped them and change outcomes of games.
Yeah.
And no wins vacated, which I am here to say I was never for vacating any wins and anything like that. But the punishment should have been more harsh. And I don't think Mel Tucker's and Michigan State punishment should have been as harsh as it is right now.
I'll be honest. My first reaction when I heard that Michigan State vacated 14 wins, my initial reaction was,
what
they
14
had
wins?
14 wins to vacate?
14 wins did they get?
Was that like a decade's worth of wins? That's a lot of
so-
vacating for the Spartans. My goodness. Okay, so let's talk about Texas and Texas A&M. That's going to be next week. But the reason I bring it up now is Texas is coming off a pretty bad loss here. So do you think the Longhorns are officially eliminated once and for all? Or do you think if they can still get a win over Texas A&M, they can play their way back into this playoff?
That's going to be real interesting because it's going to be interesting to see where the committee's mind is on having a 3-loss team in the college football playoff. Yes, you can go look at Texas' resume, and it is pretty impressive in terms of the wins that they have versus ranked opponents. But the way they lost that football game, in my opinion, they would have to be out. I don't care if you go out and beat Texas A&M, and they're the number 3 team in the country. I think Texas A&M is certainly a beatable football team, and I think the committee has to keep that into consideration as well. It's not like Texas A&M is like a mammoth in this thing to where they've went out and dominated every opponent. They've had a couple of close games, and it showed that, you know what, at some point in time, the wheels will come falling off and they will be beat, and it may be Texas in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Texas win, lose, or draw this game, they're out. I don't think the quality of play, and I think even if they do find a way to win that game in 2 weeks, I think it'll be a close-fought game, and that would be their only really quality win. You look at the Vandy win, I don't think that's as quality as I personally thought, when that happened, because Vandy, you look at the wins that they have accounted for this year so far, well, none of those teams are playoff, even nowhere near caliber teams. And when they play a playoff caliber team in Alabama, they look like just a good team. They didn't look as great as we've seen them versus other teams. And then Texas' resume, I think when you just saw the Vandy win and the Oklahoma win, I think is both a little eyesores. Oklahoma didn't have John Mateer at 100%.
Right.
And Vandy, you look at, okay, Vandy, they're not as good as everyone thought they was to be. And then you look at them versus quality teams. If they played Ohio State now versus week 1, Ohio State will destroy them. And then you see a team like they playing like with Georgia, and Georgia completely embarrassed them. So I'm trying to find a way to pass an eye test on how will they stack up versus the top 12 teams, really the top 6 teams. And I don't see them really making too much noise.
If they get in, it'll be solely on the brand power that Texas has and the money and the dollars that they're able to generate for the college football playoff.
For sure.
And you're going to sit there and say, well, they lost to the number 5 team in the country and the number 1 team in the country in Ohio State and Georgia. And that's how they're going to make sense in their mind.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, this idea that they lost to playoff caliber teams, let's put them in the playoffs so they can then lose to those playoff caliber teams.
Yeah,
They already proved they can't hang with the playoff caliber teams.
Yeah, I'm be real. I don't see them that top 6 or college football playoffs right now. I mean, even the top 7, no way they can beat them. They can't beat Oklahoma now. Right. Even with the 80% John Mateer, no way.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Okay, let's talk about what's going on here at Maryland. A few weeks ago, we thought Mike Locksley was fired because a reporter came out and said Mike Locksley was fired. The school then came out and said, not so fast. The reporter doubled down and said, nah, he really is. You'll see in time. And then the school said, chips all in. We're going to retain him for next year, and we're going to reinvest. So I want to talk to you guys.
We're going to fire you, reporter.
Yeah. I want to talk to you guys about this idea now that Luke Fickell is retained and this reinvestment. It's a word that I never really heard in college football until now, where these buyouts have gotten so insane that schools are so pot committed, to use a poker term. That means you have so many chips in the pot, you might as well see this hand till the end and not fold it. So what do you guys make of Mike Locksley, Luke Fickell, and this whole idea that schools are now saying, you know what? It's actually cheaper just to spend more in NIL than it is to pay you not the coach.
I think it makes sense, especially when you have a coach that you believe in. And if you went out and hired a guy and he's shown you some progress, I think Mike Locksley has been one of those guys where he's shown progress there at Maryland. And now all it's a matter of is getting more guys, better guys in terms of recruiting that can come and help you. I think it makes sense. And I think it makes sense for Coach Fickell as well. And I'm wondering if the powers that be in college football had came together and said, you know what, we got to slow down these firings because now we're making this thing a carousel to where coaches aren't going to want to go to certain places because they're scared for their livelihood. And if we're going to set precedent and we're going to fire a guy after 3 years and not give him time to develop guys and build continuity at a program, That's a sight for sore eyes in the world of college football, and we don't want this thing to look like the NFL.
Yeah, and who want to continue to hitting the reset button? And then another thing with that, I mean, I guess they're taking a book out of the old marriage term. It's cheaper to keep her, right. You know. So, but yeah, I mean, it got to take other coaches around college football to get fired, and all these massive buyouts, and everybody talking about them and how dumb a university is to paying a guy not to coach versus investing that money into that program. I mean, I can guarantee you, Luke Fickell, Mike Locksley, they've been standing on the table for more NIL money or more resources to get the guys they want. But in schools, you know, like, no, I think you're good with that. Well, now you see they're not good with that. So yeah, invest in your program, invest in these guys you brought in to make a change and see the thing through.
I still don't know, when I look at Penn State, that's going to be one of the biggest openings. Who the hell is going to go to Penn State and replace the production that James Franklin was able to bring to that program?
Yeah.
That was still mind-boggling to me. I mean, when you look at Penn State, they have one national championship under Joe Paterno?
Joe Pa, yeah.
Only a couple of 10-win seasons under Joe Pa, and he was able to do it consistently. So that's still a head-scratcher to me, and you guys know I'm a Franklin guy. So nonetheless, I don't know what you want to do to me, sue me, but it still makes sense when you break down and evaluating that program.
Yeah, it's weird because you got to figure out all these fire-ins and it's like, okay, who are we going to hire?
Who's out there?
Who's going to hire? Right? Are you going to, a lot of these coaches, I mean, a lot of these universities already came out, stood on the table saying, we're not hiring no one with head coaching experience. You know, we want a guy with already head coaching. We ain't looking for no up and coming guy. Right. Hopefully he can figure it out. So it's not a lot of guys that's going to be out there with head coaching experience.
Well, you brought up James Franklin, so it's time now for our Buckeye Basement Solution. If you have any issues, and I'm talking crack repair, waterproofing, whatever you need, Buckeye Basement Solutions got you covered. And we try to come up with a solution every week here. You mentioned James Franklin. James Franklin now going to Virginia Tech. Is James Franklin the solution to fix that program?
Yes, 100%. He knows the area in terms of recruiting. We watched the success he was able to have at Penn State. James Franklin is a quality coach. He's going to put together an amazing staff there. Now, am I talking about Virginia Tech being in a college football playoff team? I don't think that is, going to be deemed a success there. It'd be great nonetheless, but I don't think that's going to be an expectation for at least 4 years there at Virginia Tech. But I do think he'll have them in contention in that conference, in the ACC, which I don't believe that's a hard thing to do whatsoever.
There you go.
Sure, I like the move for him because the expectations and the standards isn't as high.
Right. Yep.
You're not walking into a Penn State where O'Brien, I think it was at the time, was the head coach, and I think he went to the NFL. He went to the Texans at that time, and he was turning that thing back around from everything to turn what was going on. So the expectations, you walked in, the expectations to win now, to beat Michigan, to beat Ohio State, to beat Michigan State, Wisconsin, and those things. I think when you think about the teams in the ACC that Virginia Tech, will compete with at that level right now, kind of a mid-level ACC team, but they can easily be a top-level ACC team, and with James Franklin, and you see what he did at Penn State and things like that. So I think he's definitely the solution for these guys.
Yeah, no, I love it because it's a gettable conference. It's a school that has tradition, very good home field advantage. One of the best.
Oh man,
one of the best
environment I've ever been in.
You know what that's about.
Best environment.
One of the best environments, a traditional school, and like you said, if you go 8-4 out of the gate, you got a really good year. And I think there's a way in the ACC to sneak into the playoff at some point eventually. So I think it makes sense.
Only thing I don't like out of this is the money. He made it easy on Penn State.
Well, he still want to coach though.
Yeah, but come on. The buyout went from $49 million all the way down to $9 million. I'm telling Virginia Tech, find a way to pay me $200,000 to be the head coach. Let them pay me.
I'll be a volunteer football coach. Just make the Nittany Lions keep paying me.
Right.
Now, it's funny. Now, if James Franklin was of age, I would say, early to mid 60s and still trying to capture a national championship. And I would say right off in the sunset in that thing. But at this point, I think he had 5 or 6 years left on that contract, which he would have to sit out from coaching. And, people forget about you when your name ain't out there as much if he wanted to continue to get paid that big buyout. So now he's just like, no, screw it. I want to keep my name hot with all these, coaching buzz, because I guarantee you, if things don't go as planned in the next 4 to 5 years, Penn State, probably Wisconsin, LSU, Ole Miss, depending on what Lane Kiffin do, Florida, depending on what Lane Kiffin is going to do, USC, depending on what Lincoln Riley is going to do. All these big jobs are going to be up for grabs again, where he kind of gets to thrust himself right back.
And I like the fact that he picked the best school out of, let's say, the mid jobs out there. You got Oregon State that's out there, Oklahoma State that's out there, Arkansas. those places are going to be a little tougher to win and rebuild than at Virginia Tech. So I think he went to the right location in the ACC to where he can build fast and be competing fast in that conference.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, my dream is not to get paid a ton of money to work. My dream is to get paid a ton of money not to work. I would have sat home. I would have bought me some hoodies like this, some $7,000 hoodie. No, but good for him. By the way, if you want to get stuff done for your basement, make sure you get a hold of Buckeye Basement Solutions. Get on BuckeyeBasementSolutions.com or give them a call at 614-956-4592. That'll do it for us on the Scripted Podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Next week, it's go time, baby. It is maize and blue time. We're going to be back next week to talk about Michigan.
Wait, you told me next week it's time for war?
It's time for war. Play it through the Woody. Play it through the Woody. We'll see you back here in 7 days.